Hey retro fans, welcome to this bonus edition of Retro Gaming Memories. This quick video, it's not a normal episode, it's just another one of these little side-off videos that don't really fit into anything. This video is about a pickup. My collecting has kind of slowed down in the last little while, primarily because I'm lucky enough to pretty much have all the systems that I want to. Own. So I haven't really been buying much, if anything I've been selling stuff, because I've already got, like I say, pretty much everything that I would like. However, on occasion there are things that pop up and take my interest, and recently if you watch, there's a bonus video I did with Mamemeister where it's Mamemeister and Jum's Talk Pish. I went round to Alan's house and we did a chat, talking all sorts of nonsense about retro stuff. But while I was there, I played some of his consoles. He's got a cracking setup with loads of cracking consoles, and he's got a couple of he's actually got quite a few things that I don't have. But he had one thing that when I was there that I really liked, and that was a consolised Neo Geo MVS, basically. Now, excuse me, the Neo Geo was an arcade at home, basically, and back in the day, the Neo Geo, if you don't know, the Neo Geo was, the systems were hugely expensive because it literally was an arcade console at home. The games that you played in your house were literally the same games that were played in the arcade. But the console was prohibitively expensive. I think when it released in the US, the Neo Geo AES, as it was called, Advanced Entertainment System, I think it was, it was like $700 in the US, and the games came on huge cartridges the sizes of kind of hardback books, and the games were about 330 megabytes. Now, back in the day, that was huge, and that's why it was arcade quality. Most games at the time, on your Mega Drive and your SNES and all that, you were lucky if they were sort of 18 megabytes in size. And the Neo Geo was 330 megabytes. That's what the 330 mega refers to when a Neo Geo boots up. That's how much it could store. But anyway, the Neo Geo console was prohibitively expensive, and the cartridges were like $200 each. So for most people, even today, buying an AES is stupidly expensive. But Alan, if you remember, I was slavering about being round at Alan's house. Alan has got a consolised MVS, which is there's some chap, now I don't know who it was, but there's some chap literally takes the board out of the arcade machine and makes a little housing for it, and lets you plug in the Neo Geo carts from the arcade machine into this home console, which has got ports for you to plug in your joystick, joypads, and it hooks up to like SCART or whatever. And the guy's done a really good job of it. I'll see if I can find a picture, or I'll put a link to Alan's sort of video review of it down below, and you can have a little look, because it's a cracking bit of kit, and I really liked it. But I thought the console itself is, I think, reasonably priced. I'm not sure how much Alan paid for it, but it wasn't 20 quid, put it that way. But at the same time, it's a, in quotes, affordable way to be able to play Neo Geo games. However, the cartridges are still $200 each. In fact, some of them are stupid money. Some of them are thousands for the kind of rarer games. Now, you can get sort of 60 or 120 in one type cartridges, which have got all the games on them, and you just pick from a menu and all that kind of stuff. And that was all very nice, and I loved playing it. But I still like the physical act of taking a disc or a cartridge or whatever and putting it in the machine and playing it. So he had another console called the Neo Geo CD, Now it was sort of like a Sega Saturn type console, which played CDs, and those CDs were just basically CD versions of the MVS or AES games, usually with a CD soundtrack on top of them. And it was a lot cheaper way to be able to play Neo Geo games. Now I'm not sure how much the console was when it was launched. I think it was about comparative to a 3DO, that type price, sort of maybe 400 quid, something like that. And the games are a lot cheaper. Anyway, Alan had a Neo Geo CD, and I played it, and I loved it. And I thought, this is actually a potential way for me to be able to play Neo Geo games. Now, Neo Geo for most collectors it's not quite a holy grail, but it's equivalent to having a kind of classic Ferrari or something like that. It's a really nice system to have in your collection. And Alan's got 2 of the bloody things, show off. But anyway, the Neo Geo CD was a cracking machine, and I really enjoyed playing it. And the interesting thing is that the Neo Geo CD plays backups. So should you wish to procure an ISO type ROM from the interweb and burn it to a disk for evaluation purposes or backup should you own the game, yes, then you can do that and it will play them. So that was an interesting way to be able to play the vast library of Neo Geo games. Now I found out that not all the sort of MVS, AES games were released on Neo Geo CD. For example, the Metal Slug series, I think it was only the first 2 Metal Slug games that are out on Neo Geo CD, whereas there was 6, 7 of them, I think, on the MVS. So there are compromises to be made. Another big compromise that a lot of people say, oh, you should never buy a Neo Geo CD. It takes years to load a game. Now, the loading it's slightly slow for some people. And what I mean by that is it's a single speed CD drive that's in the Neo Geo CD. And some people think it's cripplingly slow to load. We timed it, and I think it's anywhere between 15 and 40 seconds to load a game. Now, when you're sitting looking at it, 40 seconds can feel like quite a while. But it's 40 seconds, it's nothing. I've timed Amiga CD32 games and they take 1.5 to 2 minutes to load. And to put it into perspective, if you have a PlayStation 4, I would like you to switch on your PlayStation 4, and if you have it, put in a copy of The Division and start that game, and I can guarantee you that I could take Pulsar, which is the slowest loading game on the Neo Geo CD, and I could be playing it before you even got to the menu of The Division, because your PlayStation 4 has got to start up, it's got to then boot the game, it's got to then download the 5 billion gigabyte patch, it's then got to actually load the menu of the game, and then it's got to hook up to the servers, and then it's got to load your map before you even do anything. So Neo Geo CD taking an age to load is just bollocks. It's what it was, it's a single speed CD drive, so it's going to take a little while. I don't have an issue with that, I'm from a time where you put a tape in, you waited 15 minutes to load. 40 seconds sitting looking at a little guy juggling or whatever, they have little animations when it's loading. Sitting, watching that and just waiting on the game loading, it's not an issue for me at all. So I love it. Anyway, I'm waffling on about this. The reason I'm waffling on about the Neo Geo CD is that today I actually got one. This arrived in the post today. Now, slight story. This is actually my second Neo Geo CD within the space of a month. I did have one before, I bought one, and the chap sent it out to me, and I did a lovely unboxing video, which I will show you a little bit of in one of these corners, I can never remember, but I'll put a little bit of the video of me unboxing it, and it was very exciting, and I'd done a lovely unboxing video for you guys, and I was going to show you it all working, but then when I plugged it up, it didn't work. It wouldn't boot any games, which was a real shame. I was really disappointed because I really wanted the console. So unfortunately I had to box it up and send it back to the guy and get a refund. However, fate smiled upon me, whatever, fortune, whatever. And another one came up on eBay, which is this one. Now you can import these from Japan, and there are a lot of Neo Geo CDs on eBay UK that are Japanese imports, which is fine, but by the time you pay postage and potential import costs, it just pumps the price right up to being unaffordable. I got this, I had a price set in mind, and I got this for cheaper than the first console that I bought. And I'm not going to tell you how much I paid for it, but you know, if you look on eBay, you'll see roughly how much these things go for. But this one came, and I tried this today briefly, and it works. So I'm over the moon. I finally have a Neo Geo CD, and I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into the library and playing it. But I'll give you a quick tour. If you've never seen one of these sort of in the flesh before, it's a really nice system. As you can see, it's reminiscent of the Sega Saturn, but it's a really nice machine. Quite heavy. Well, it's a bit like the PlayStation. It's reassuringly heavy, but it's, you know, you're not going to have to be a weightlifter to lift it. But it feels like a nice quality machine. I love the styling on this. There is another version called the Neo Geo CD-Z, or CD-Z if you're American, which does have it's at least a dual speed CD drive in it, and it loads a lot quicker. And a lot of people say you should get one of those, you know, it loads quicker. Again, like I was just saying, if you're a little bit patient, this isn't an issue. And to be honest, I prefer the style of this over the Neo Geo CD-Z, CD-Z, whatever. It looks different, it's flatter, it looks more like a 3DO, but I prefer the styling of this. This is just 1990 in a plastic box. But anyway, I'll give you a little tour. So there's the front of it, all shiny, lovely black. Hardly anything on it. All you've got is a power indicator there, an LED that lights up red, and a power button. That's it. There's no eject button. To eject your CD, you just click the lid. There you go. So it's just a little push to click mechanism, that's it. So nothing else on the kind of top of the console. On the front, you've got two joypad ports. Let's see if we can get these. Yeah, two joypad ports. Nothing on the side apart from this sort of ridge. I don't know if it's for holding on to it or giving it a hug when you're, you know, caressing your Neo Geo. I have no idea. There's nothing on the other side either. Just that styling again. On the back, you've got what is that? That's a power port, sort of video, S-video, or your sort of composite. So yeah, a couple of video options. Now this system that I bought came with the SCART lead. Now I haven't tried that yet. I had a composite that I've tried, but I also have a lead which does the S-video to composite. So I'm going to give that a go. I'll try all three of them, see which one gives me the best picture. So I did fire this up and have a little play, just to, like I say, just to check it works. I haven't spent any time with it because now that I know it works, I'm actually going to tear it down and clean it all, because the lid is sticking slightly, so I'm going to get a little bit of grease or oil or something on that, and there's a few little bits there that could do with just a little bit of cleaning. I always clean my kit when I get it anyway, just to make sure that, you know, it fits in with my OCD about clean things. So that's the Neo Geo CD console. Oh, big beast. And it came with one controller. Now the Neo Geo AES or MVS, the sort of consoles, came with the sort of iconic arcade style joystick. Now I used to have a Neo Geo X, which I loved, and it was a great system, but you couldn't expand it. Originally, when it was released, they were going to release multiple packs of games, which would have been fantastic, because I loved the system. You know, a lot of people went, it's just an emulator in a box, but it looked like a Neo Geo. It was officially licensed. It had the Neo Geo sticks that were the same size, you know, 1-to-1 replicas of the original, you know, and it played really well. But unfortunately, although it had a library of sort of about 40 games, you couldn't expand it. You could jailbreak it, sort of hack it and all that kind of stuff. And I don't like doing that. You know, I prefer. I'm fortunate enough that I can, you know, on occasion afford to buy sort of proper games for these things. So I would rather buy official games for these systems rather than kind of, you know, hack stuff and put ROMs on it and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, the Neo Geo X was a great system and I really loved it. But the main reason I wanted to get a real Neo Geo was that I could then play more games. You know, I could expand the library. But the interesting thing when I was round at Alan's house is when he let me play his Neo Geo CD, I didn't realise that it came with a control pad, not the control stick. I presume it was a cost-cutting measure because the control sticks would have cost quite a lot to make. You know, and whilst they felt great and kind of gave you that real arcade experience, because you were playing an arcade game, you might as well have a proper arcade joystick. To cut costs, which is what the Neo Geo CD was all about, they created a gamepad. So that's what I have, and here we go. There's a gamepad there. Now this is actually I was really pleasantly surprised when like I say, when I was at Alan's Mamemeister's. That was the first time I'd ever used this pad, and I thought, well, I'm used to the arcade stick. Playing these games in my mind, you know, especially like fighting games and stuff, should be played with a stick. However, Neo Geo or SNK did a really good job of designing this pad. Now, while it looks very similar to almost every sort of 16-bit gamepad you've ever seen, there's some really subtle design things in it. So if you look at it end on, this bit is slightly raised, and that sits in your hand really comfortably. It's kind of hard to explain. It just lifts the stick a bit, so it's again, it's hard to show you, but it sits really comfortably in your hand, and it's such a responsive pad. You know, I don't feel that I'm missing anything from the arcade experience playing the games with a pad versus playing it with the arcade stick. And the actual stick itself is a nice micro switched clicky stick, and it feels really nice. It's really responsive, and it's really good for playing the Neo Geo, especially the fighters. You can get some cracking moves on it. You know, it's really easy to do the kind of half circle down, back and all that kind of stuff to do all the special moves. The buttons are at a slight angle. I don't know if I'll be able to show you this, but the buttons on the pad are at a slight angle, so they sit really well. They're basically sitting at the right angle of your thumb, so you know it's really comfortable to play. And like I say, the pad sits really well in your hand. It's about the size of a Sega Mega Drive pad. Feels same kind of dimensions in the hand, but it's a really nice responsive pad. And all you've got on it, there's no shoulder buttons or anything. All you've got is the 8-way stick, select, start, and your 4 buttons, A, B, C, and D. And the coloured buttons correspond to the buttons on the Neo Geo arcade machines. So when you see the demos of the games and it says how to play, you know, press button A, which is the red button, to punch or whatever, you know that's what that is. It's not like they've mapped it differently. So it's really nice little details like that that kind of make it really work. So yeah, really nice pad. I'm really pleased with that, and it all works beautifully. Decent length of cord, proper cord. I mean, that's about 2 meters worth of cord. So big I can't actually get it in the screen, but there you go. And the port on these, don't know what's that, about a 15 pin or something like that. So it's different from the 9 pin. There you go. So it's a bit like the 9 pin standard plug for old school joysticks, but that's about a 15 pin, I think. So and it's got the SNK logo on the actual plug. So a really nice pad. I've only got one pad. I will at some point get another one. They tend to be quite expensive. They're about 40 quid. plus import and postage and all that kind of stuff. So it's only going to be me that's playing it just now, so we'll stick with one pad for now. Now I do have a couple of games, well 3 games to be precise, for the Neo Geo. I have Real Bout Fatal Fury. They're all fighters that I've got at the moment, but Real Bout Fatal Fury. Now this is the Japanese version, in case you hadn't noticed. Let's see if I can show you that. So a cracking fighting game. The Fatal Fury games were kind of made famous by, and they were one-on-one fighting games, but you could jump planes. It basically had 3 planes. You could jump kind of back into the screen. You could fight in the middle plane, which was a sort of normal Street Fighter 2 type plane, or you could jump towards the screen. But you could also pull moves that saw you sort of sliding into the screen, and if you hit the character when you did a slide, you took a lot of energy off them and all that kind of stuff. So there was some really interesting mechanics to the game. So it's a cracking game, and I love the sort of Fatal Fury. The Neo Geo fighters are probably my favourite, more so than the Street Fighter type series. Neo Geo fighters and Tekken. Tekken are my 3D. Tekken's my sort of 3D fighter fetish game, and the Neo Geo fighters are my 2D fighting games. But one cool thing I found about this is like I say, it's the Japanese. The cool thing about the Japanese games is a lot of them have like English menus and all that kind of stuff in them. Sometimes the full game's in English, it just depends. But there's a little, you can see that the game's in, the title's in English, and then there's a sort of subtitle in Japanese. The spine of the game's all in Japanese, apart from this bit, which says Real Battle Action Game. So they usually have this kind of really fun sort of style of game, I suppose, description in English, which is a bit mad. But the thing I did notice, that like I say, everything else is in Japanese. I can't read Japanese as much as I'd love to. But I thought, you know what, technology can help me out. And if you have a smartphone, you can download the Google Translate app, and it's got a really cracking feature on it where you can basically invoke camera and tell it what language you're looking at and what you want to convert it to, so obviously Japanese to English. And if you hold it over, it will sort of hover the English text over the Japanese script. I was going to say kanji script there, there's a couple of different types of Japanese scripts, I don't want to get it wrong, but it will hover the English text, or to the best of its ability, the English text over the Japanese text. So you can actually sort of read the manual in English, by kind of translating it using your phone. So I'd recommend giving that a shot for a laugh and getting used to it. So it's pretty cool to be able to do that. Anyway, that's Real Bout Fatal Fury. I've also got dipping my toe into the King of Fighters series. Now I love the King of Fighters series, that's what I was kind of saying there. The King of Fighters is my favourite series of fighting games. So this is King of Fighters 94. And this is the US version of the game, so it's all in English. Now the only downside, I suppose, to the US versions is that they were slightly censored. So if there's any blood type things, there's obviously a lot of kind of fighting games with swords and that on the Neo Geo, and even in Metal Slug and things like that. In the US releases, any sort of blood animations were white. They took the red out of it, whereas the Japanese versions have red blood. So it's not a big issue, obviously, but it's one of the kind of minor differences. But yeah, so that's King of Fighters 94, and then I have King of Fighters 95. So again, this is a US version. I haven't spent any time with these apart from checking that they load. I'm off on holiday on Friday, and I intend to spend the day basically playing Neo Geo. So if you haven't seen any of these discs before, they're just in standard CD cases. Although some of them do have I don't know if we'll be able to show it, but they have an actual SNK logo embossed onto the CD, onto the case. But the discs themselves, so this is King of Fighters 95, just your standard CD. They're not like PlayStation games or anything where it's black or funky coloured. And they did, in line with Japanese discs, they did have these kind of spine cards, I suppose. Some people will only buy Japanese games if they have spine cards. I personally couldn't care less. As long as I've got the manual and the disc and the cover art, I'm not bothered about spines. I buy these games to play, not to, have as collector's pieces. So yeah, so that is my collection at the moment. King of Fighters 94, King of Fighters 95 and Real Bout Fatal Fury. I will be adding to those as time goes on. I'll just take my time because the Neo Geo games still command a decent price. You can get them, depending on the title, you can get them from about 12 quid upwards. The King of Fighters series, depending on which one it is, they seem to sit around the 25 to 35 quid mark. Metal Slug is just stupid. I think I saw a copy of Metal Slug on eBay and it was like 140 quid or something like that. No chance. If I can get a good deal on these type of games, I might consider it, but I'll be playing a backup just to check it, what it's like. I do have the Metal Slug anthology on the Wii, and I've got like the King of Fighters, so Orochi Saga, I think it's called. I can't remember what it's called, but basically there was the King of Fighters 94, 95, 96, 97 and 98, I think it was, on one disc on the PlayStation 2. So I have that, but I want to collect for the Neo Geo CD, so I'm chuffed to bits to have one, and I will try and build quite a nice library of games for it. I do like, although I'll be playing some backups, for games that are just stupidly expensive, I do like owning the original stuff with manuals and all that kind of thing, because I'm weird like that. I prefer all my games sort of boxed complete wherever possible. So nice wee starter set, and we will add to it, if I get any birthday money or pocket money or Christmas money. I might buy a couple of Neo Geo games. But anyway, that's it. Just a sort of quick half-hour pickup video. Good God, I could waffle nonsense all day. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you've got any questions about the Neo Geo CD or anything like that, do let me know. I will be doing gameplay videos of these games soon, and anything new that I get, I'll be doing these sort of pickup videos and stuff. So anyway, that's it. That was supposed to be a quick 5-minute video. I've waffled on for nearly half an hour. So yeah, check out Alan's video below to see the consolised MVS, which is an amazing bit of kit. Really, really nice. And obviously direct any questions to Alan, because I've no idea where he got it from or how much it cost or anything like that. I just know it's a nice bit of kit. And yeah, here's hoping this is a nice long relationship with the Neo Geo CD. I'm looking forward to it and trying these cracking games and playing them on a real system as well. You can play these on an emulator. They're perfectly emulated pretty much now, but to be able to play them on the real hardware is really nice. So anyway, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this sort of bonus video. Stay tuned. The next episode will be coming out on Friday, I think. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.